Welcome to Northwestern. Everybody knows why they're here. I just want to introduce our guests. Bill Osborne, the chairman of the board, President Morton Shapiro, and Jim Phillips, the director of athletics and recreation. We're going to have a 15-minute news conference because they all have to be someplace else with the BC game about to start. They have 1:30 appointments, so they'll each speak for a little bit and then take your questions. And Paul has some ground rules.
As always, for those of you that haven't been here before, if you do have a question once we open it up for them, please raise your hand, alert myself or Dan across the room till we give you one of these wireless mics. It's not for your benefit. You will not hear your voice amplified. It's for the benefit of the cameras. So thank you. Mr. Osborne?
Yes, I'm Bill Osborne, and I represent the Board of Trustees of Northwestern, and we are so pleased to announce a major addition to our Evanston campus, the athletics and recreation complex that the board approved today. This is a culmination of a lot of work that's gone on over many, many years. Actually, if you go back, we had a master plan that we actually finished about 5 years ago. And this master plan included the input from outside consultants, our faculty, students, many others, as to how we use our limited space that we have in Evanston. As many of you may know, we have about 240 acres, which compared to most major universities limits us to a degree in terms of how we're able to expand. Related to that, then, a few years ago, Jim Phillips really instituted a plan to look at how the athletics and recreation piece of this would be included and something that would be able to allow us to create a much better community on campus, which is really very important for us. And that really study, which was led by an outside firm called Populous, came up with some suggestions about 2 years ago. We started to work on those suggestions and try to make them work with our constraints, and that's what led to eventually the announcement that we had today. So we are very pleased. We think this is great for our athletic programs. This is great for our students. This is great for our university. So with that, let me turn this over to Morty Shapiro, who will give you a little more background. Morty?
Thank you, Bill. And thanks to the Board of Trustees for this bold step. It's very, very exciting. People have been very patient. You know, the way we do things in academia, particularly here at Northwestern, we think these things out in a great detail, and we take our time and we get them right. And I think if you look at the variety of different investments and infrastructure that we've made or are making now, they really come out to be fantastic. I think this is a game changer in every regard. It's obviously a big step forward, major step forward for our football program, but it's a step forward for 8 other varsity teams who are located out there in the lake. And as somebody who regularly attends lacrosse and field hockey and men's soccer and women's soccer and the like, and I see them without locker rooms walking back to Patton Gymnasium, and I just think, boy, there's got to be a better way to do that. And then having the men and women's swim team, the diving team going up to Milwaukee, it's just mind-boggling. So we've addressed their needs. Also, of course, we have men and women's tennis there. But it's not just those 9 varsity sports. You know, we have 19, and the other 10 are going to take great opportunity of those magnificent new facilities. One of the blessings of being in Evanston is right there on that lake, and everyone's going to see that. But as Bill said, it's not just a step forward for football and 18 other varsity sports. It's a major investment in recreational facilities, and the club and intramural teams are going to take great use of that, particularly the indoor facility. And so is the rest of the university. You know, we'll be welcoming 2,000 freshmen on Thursday and move-in day, and I'll be hosting them and their parents, you know, at various venues. It's going to be great to have a venue where you could fit 2,500 people. So that indoor facility is going to be not just a practice facility, it's actually going to be a game facility. And I'm sure with bad weather, occasionally happens here in the Chicagoland area, we're going to be playing lacrosse and soccer there indoors, and we're going to use that as a venue for all kinds of gatherings outside of athletics and recreation. So in some, we waited, and we got it, and I think it's just, as I said, a fantastic investment in all of our students and faculty and staff who are now going to be using a recreated facility there on the lakefront that's going to be as good as anything we've ever built at Northwestern. So with that, I turn it over to Jim Phillips.
Thanks, Morty, and I first need to recognize a few folks, certainly Chairman Osborne and his leadership and President Shapiro, but the entire Board of Trustees for their support. And as been described, we've developed, I think, a transformational project that has a chance to really play a part in the roles of student athletes, but all students here on campus. And as we talk about academics and higher education, it really is about integration of student athletes with students, and the location and the design of these facilities will certainly do that. But the thanks really go to Chairman Osborne and President Shapiro, Myron Siegel, who heads up Educational Properties Group, because we walked hand in hand for quite a few months to get us to this stage. And I think it's really reflective of the history of the university. When you think about 1850 on May 30th, and you think of those 10 folks down on the corner of Lake and Dearborn talking about building an institution that had excellence in all of its parts, this is another example and a reaffirmation about Northwestern being a world-class university and having excellence in all of its parts, not only science and teaching and all the other wonderful things that happen on our campus, but athletics and recreation. So I can't tell you how excited I am. I know I woke up this morning having my fingers crossed with one more step to go. Laura thought I was happier today than, I don't know. I don't want to overstate it, not on the birth of any of my children, but maybe just below that, for what it means, because it is an absolute investment in this Department of Athletics and Recreation, and it will absolutely touch the lives of every kid on this campus now and well into the future. And that's why this is such a historic and important date. It truly is transformational. So with all that, I think Paul had indicated we'll open it up for questions from any of the three.
And if you'd like to ask a question, please wait for the mic, and if it's directed towards one individual on stage, please make sure you mention who that is.
Okay, I think President Shapiro the best. I have two questions. When do you hope that you'll be able to open this?
Well, we have to raise a lot of money, Teddy, as you know. Until you get design documents, it's really hard to figure out. But ballpark, we were thinking about $200 million project. But then you add soft costs and contingency, and it goes up to about $220 or so. And I think that's sort of what we shared, I think, Bill, with the board. It's a lot of money, but we're not just beginning to raise money today. You know, we've been along a path. We've been pretty confident that the board would figure out a way to situate this amazing new investment on the lakefront without interfering with future academic needs and expansions, and they did that brilliantly. As Jim pointed out, Gordon Siegel and that committee, they've been tireless working on that, and they did a great job. But we've been thinking that, well, it's going to be a big price, and we better start, figuring out a fundraising, increasing capacity to raise that money, because the worst thing would be sort of, have this great plans and you see these beautiful buildings and it just sort of sits on a shelf for many, many years. So we've been busy. And, we're hopeful. It's a lot of money, but we raise a lot of money. I mean, we raised $284.9 million last year, right? So, I mean, that wasn't all for athletics. Some of it was, but, we have capacity. Our fundraising goal this year is $410 million, okay? So, it's a lot of money, 220, but we're going to try to raise it as quickly as possible because a lot of people have been waiting for this. And it's not just football recruits, but it's as I said, all of our students, faculty, and staff. And once we have this facility, it's going to be such a great addition to campus. As I said, I wish we had it for Thursday when we greet the parents, and then Friday morning and Monday morning, the following Monday, when I have the convocation for the freshmen. We don't have a lot of venues, Teddy, as you know, on campus where you can fit 2,500 people. So this is going to be a great one for the indoor facility.
Okay, so it sounds like you don't even have a date goal in mind. And also,
I just we put in the press release that we have to raise the money, and that's what we do. And some buildings take longer than others. I think there's a lot of excitement about this. And, Jim and I and Bill have already been talking to people, and I hope that, we get momentum pretty early, and I'm cautiously optimistic that we will. So we're going to try to raise the money as quickly as possible.
And for either you or Jim, what is your hope in the area around here? How could basketball men and women and the other teams here benefit from this?
Well, the other part of the Populous report that Bill Osborne referred to is other facilities, and some out here on Central, but also elsewhere. Bloomquist, you probably know, and the outdoor tennis facility. And they have some great ideas, softball, particularly baseball. But Jim said that from the point of view of athletics and recreation, the number one priority was this project. And that's what we did. And at the meeting we just came from, Educational Properties, that came up. And they said, well, this is the highest priority. We're going to go for that. And maybe, we don't have to wait for everything to be operational here on the lakefront before we do some things out in Central. It depends on the fundraising. But, we have a big goal here, and we want to raise it as quickly as possible. And, I don't really want to be distracted about, there's great ideas, and they have wonderful things about how to improve the amenities at Ryan Field and Welsh Ryan Arena, but we just okayed a specific project today, and that's number one priority. Bill, I don't know if you want to add to that.
No, I think you said it, Ron.
Other questions? I guess we're good. Okay, did you have one in the front row?
Congratulations, first and foremost. As you all alluded to, this is going to help all the sports across the university, but can you talk specifically how this will increase the football program here at Northwestern?
Well, I would say that the idea today in today's world is to try to make things as seamless as possible for all of your sports. And I've said it publicly and privately. Football is the engine that drives this department. It's the emotional engine. It's the financial engine. So we have to invest not only in all 19 sports, but certainly football. But this will allow our football program to be in the heart of campus and to go seamlessly between classes and training and film work and study hall and practice and weights and meetings with coaches and all the things that football student athletes do on a day-to-day basis like never before here at Northwestern. And so certainly there's a wonderful aspect of recruiting and being able to tell the story, but it's truly an investment of the kids that are on our campus now. And so, David, I just think that this project, though it may have taken longer than some people wanted it to, we have the very best project that we could come up with, and we needed the time. We needed the extra days and months to get this thing right. And so there's a residual that happens not only with football, but you use that same type of structure for all 19 sports. And to be able to seamlessly go from the areas that I described, it really, truly is transformational.
President Shapiro, I know you mentioned the fact that you would hope this indoor facility would allow the soccer teams and lacrosse teams to be able to play indoors if there's inclement weather. Was that in reaction to specific feedback from either Coach Monty Hiller or Coach Lenahan or Coach Moynihan, or was that just something that became a byproduct of this new indoor facility?
Yeah, I think we always had it in the back of our minds. Again, if you've ever seen the people, trekking out to Patton for the locker rooms and all, and it's sort of the investment in that field out there, the field hockey and of course lacrosse, soccer field. I mean, they're beautiful, they're perfectly located, but they haven't had the surrounding support facilities there, including the porta potties sitting there, right? So I think there was always the intention of building something like locker rooms and support facilities for them, and now we have it. The other thing I would say, just getting back to what Jim just said, is that if there's anything that's clear, I think with big-time sports, big-time universities, is that you want to integrate all those students. We have 486 varsity athletes. You want to integrate them with all the rest of the students as much as possible. And you also want to integrate the coaches and staff. And that's what it's doing. So when Jim says it brings everybody out to a common place, not a mile away, and there's a lot of good things. This is a beautiful room here. But to have them there, where they see the other students and they mingle with the other students was one of the great intentions of that. And that's not just for football, but it's for all the 286 varsity athletes.
We have time for one more.
Jim, could you just talk about how this might impact recruiting, football specifically, but overall as well?
Well, I think there's a few dimensions relative to recruiting. It's similar to anything in our life. You need to invest in it if you hope that there'll be some returns on that investment, because if you under-resource it and under-support it, then you have very little chance to have success. But if you support it and give it the resources it needs, it really gives you an injection that allows you to compete at the very highest level. So I think it certainly will be that injection for football, but it will be for all 18 other sports. But, you know, as been alluded to, it's not just words. This is a great thing for Northwestern University. Every tour that happens on our campus with every prospective student will absolutely find its way to this new building. And this will be a sell and a draw for all 8,000 of our undergraduate students and nearly 8,000 graduate students. So prospective student athletes, that's an absolute key to this thing. But don't undersell that opportunity that allows us now to sell this entire university in a way that we have not had before. And people recreate in a lot of different ways. I think students love a chance to get out of the classroom and get out of the laboratory settings and clear their minds with getting on a treadmill or throwing the frisbee around or kicking the soccer ball around. This only enhances their experience as well. And that's what makes this thing such an incredible moment for us.
Jim, can I add one thing? I come from the business world, but I'm gradually becoming more of an academic, I guess. But one word that I would use around this is called optionality. And one of the things that made this work was taking what was required in terms of needs from different parts of the university and making it effective for everybody. So we have a space which can be used for football practice, can be used for soccer, can be used for lacrosse, field hockey, and that optionality was a key factor in how this thing got done, because all the resources and all the activities we have can be used for multiple purposes. So in the end, it's just something that when you're limited in space and what you can do, it really is something that allowed a little breakthrough here. So just to add to what you're saying.
And I would say one other thing to that as well. Our provost, Dan Linzer, has done an amazing job with the strategic plan, and one of the important pillars is this building a sense of community. And I don't think you can underscore enough this sense of community that we will build in the heart of campus for this integration has been described, that will be an absolutely wonderful moment for our Northwestern community to come together. And that's student athletes, that's students, that's faculty, that's staff, that's the Evanston community, that's all of the folks that are consumers of Northwestern University and recreation and athletics. This gives them an opportunity to build a strong community like never before.
Okay, thank you,